balloons, bazookas, boobies, bosoms, boulders, cans, hooters, knockers, melons, honkers, jugs, rack, tatas, tits, torpedoes, guns, bust, doorknobs, coconuts, and our favorite one, the girls. Welcome to the All About Breastfeeding show, where your host, Lori, highlights mothers just like yourself and goes beyond the surface questions and digs deep so they share not only their joys and happiness in their daily breastfeeding life, but also their pain and struggles and how they worked through them.
Episode number 73, June 2016 Celebrations. Welcome to All About Breastfeeding, the place where the girls hang out. I am your host, Lori Jill Eisenstadt, IBCLC. It has been a particularly busy week with family celebrations of my daughter's birthday, my wedding anniversary, my son beginning his job. Here is one of those interesting life moments that you say, you know, your kids are really grown up when ... A few weeks ago, I was sitting with my family and trying to coordinate calendars and trying to figure out what days we could schedule to celebrate the separate occasions, my daughter's birthday and my husband and I's anniversary. My daughter Alisha, who has a birthday one day before my wedding anniversary, well, she said to me, "Mommy, I'm okay to share my birthday dinner with your anniversary dinner. We could celebrate it on the same night." I looked at my daughter, who is, if you know her, usually her birthday is all about herself, and if it falls on a weekend, it's a whole birthday weekend. And usually, it's all the attention is on her. And I said to her, "Are you sure?" And she was like, "Of course." I said, "Of course?" And I thought, when did my baby grow up? How did I miss this? I guess that happens when, they grow up, they graduate, they go to college, they graduate, they get a real job, get married, and have a life away from mommy and daddy. It really goes fast, people. I know it sounds so cliche, but it truly does. So for all the new parents out there, in the midst of your sleep deprivation and any other parenting challenges and feeling like this is never going to end, try and remember, there will come a day when they are fully independent. They don't need for you to wipe their tushies anymore, or make them meals for them, or drive them places, or give them money. All of a sudden you turn around and they just don't need you to care for them day to day anymore. So, try your best to enjoy all the moments and special times with your precious little babies and kids. In the past few days, I have often reflected on my early days of breastfeeding Alisha. Well, Alisha, she just about did me in. How's that for reflection? I went from a world of a working girl, just taking care of myself, responsible for myself, having weekends, the whole Saturday and Sunday to myself, my husband and I getting good night's sleep, we had regular meals, we ate out, I took showers regularly, and I had a social life. I went from that to all the stuff that new motherhood is made of. Little to no sleep, forget about a social life, and regular meals? I was just trying to figure out the basics, like, can I get in a shower today? Maybe tomorrow, or hopefully the next day. Will I ever eat breakfast before dinner time? This is how I put the change from my life BA to AA, which means before Alisha and after Alisha. My life had been turned topsy-turvy, inside out, and upside down. Almost zero, Z-E-R-O, about my life was the same anymore. It's like I had been transported to another galaxy and just plots down. A new job, and I had no idea of my environment or the other people I was working with and what to do with them. One I had no clue how to function in. My husband would say the same, But I would tell him, Alan, I beg to differ. Yes, he did have a new baby in the house. And yes, he was now living with a woman that perhaps he didn't recognize anymore. But he went to work every day. And he was like, yeah, and what's your point? And I would say, my point is, you get to shower and dress and fix your hair and put on cologne like a normal person. You have breakfast sitting down, and when you brush your teeth and go to the bathroom, you go all by yourself. You're not holding anything in your arms. And then when you're done, you just grab your keys and you leave the house. And Alan is like, yeah, and? So I would then say, well, there's already about 10 things that you get to do that I can't do. And it's only 7 o'clock in the morning for you. And then I would say, let me expand on that. You then go to the car, you slide yourself into the seat, you turn the car on, and choose what music you get to listen to while you drive to work. And you don't have a crying baby in the back. Of course, Alan is like, okay, and your point is? And I would say, so now there are like 20 things that you get to do the same every day that I can't do anymore the same. And of course, I have an incredible need to expand on this even more. I go a few days without showering, rarely get to eat breakfast, and if I do, I'm certainly not sitting down, but rather doing that mommy-baby bouncing thing. And I never leave the house with just my keys. There's a whole half hour or more process, and if Alisha peed or pooped somewhere along that half hour, things get pushed back at least another 15 minutes. And I have to check and recheck to be sure I packed all my stuff. There's never any sliding into the front seat of the car and putting on my favorite music. I have to schlep all the bags, put them down first, put her in the car seat, and do whatever I can to make her happy for the car ride. Then I put all the bags I'm taking into the back seat. Do you know how many steps that is? Do you know how long that takes? So far, nothing about my day is anything like it was, and everything about your day is just the same as BA, before Alisha. So everyone is now seeing this picture I'm painting for you. If I were to continue my little story, I would talk about how he gets to talk to adults most of his day, how his brain doesn't feel like it's turning to mush like I feel mine is, talking to a baby all day in that high-pitched voice that we do. Then the ultimate happens. Alan gets to have lunch, sitting down, a nice meal prepared and cleaned up by someone else. And he gets to have a conversation with some friends. And me? Nope, 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 and nope. No adult conversation, no sitting down for a nice meal, and no leisurely conversation amongst friends. Instead, my job is to figure out how to keep Alisha happy, how to keep Alisha calm, how to keep her well fed, and try my best to get some sleep, even if it's just a 15-minute lousy nap at some point between 4 a.m. and noon. Now, if she did that, I would think I hit the jackpot. You can see how the rest of the day goes and how I reflect on how different my days are after giving birth, and how Alan's pretty much stays the same for a good 12 hours or so. Oh, and did I mention that his sleep cycle is basically the same? He has to get up and go to work, so I'm not going to nudge him or bang around making noises or let Alisha wake him up. Oh no. I saved that for the weekend. And breastfeeding? Well, that was a nightmare for me. It hurt. I suffered with cracks and bleeding. My poor nipples that I never gave more than 10 minutes thought my whole life leading up to this point, all of a sudden became the star of my show. I thought about them all day and all night. They hurt, they ached, they throbbed, and I would constantly be distracted thinking about my poor nipples, how they felt, what they looked like, what I could do to get out of this pain I was in. Like I said, my nipples, they were the star of my new mommy show. When my beautiful baby showed signs of hunger, and it totally was not what they talked about in class, they used to say, well, first your baby's going to begin to stir, then as she slowly wakes up herself, her eyes will open, and you're going to make eye contact with your beautiful baby, gently pick her up, perhaps give her a fresh diaper, and once she's all cleaned and you swaddle her, you're going to sit down with her, put her to the breast, sit and relax, and have a good feeding. Anyone listening have a 0 to 10 baby? If you do, you know what I mean. There is no gently and gradually awakening. This is not stirring lightly and beginning to give those feeding cues. Sometimes there was no sleeping in between feeds, so forget that. Other times when she was asleep and woke for a feeding, it was like, boing! Her eyes jumped open and she cried loudly, like as if someone had stuck her with a pin or something. While I did get used to this, it certainly was not pleasant. And then to think about putting her to the breast and inflict dire pain on myself? Yes, my lovely husband, my days are now just like they used to be? B.A.? No, I think not. Of course, there are parts of my day that I have missed sharing with you, like looking at a baby girl who just finally fell asleep, looking at just how beautiful my creation is. Yes, I like to take full responsibility for all the good parts of her. The Eisenstadt wine is from his side. The way she scrunches up her face before she lets out a yelp, that's from his side too. But her smile and how it lights up her eyes, now all that is from my side of the family. Okay, I'm just kidding. There's just as much good stuff that comes from his family gene pool as there is from mine. And while I did not shower as often as I had before, and I did not get out as often as I did before, like a lot of other things in life, this season of very early and first-time newborn mothering did pass. It passed, it changed, it evolved. I did eventually get to take showers and go out and meet with some friends. I did find a rhythm to my new life. I did eventually feel like I knew what I was doing. As each week passed, I gained confidence in my role as a new mother. I stopped looking at everyone else, sometimes even the lawn guy, who I thought he must be smarter than me because he's got 5 kids, and he must know all the answers to life's new puzzles, like, why doesn't the diaper stay on? Should I dress her up in layers when I have the air conditioner on? Her belly button looks weird. Could it get infected? Is it going to be a weird outie? When do I stop staying up and staring at her to make sure she doesn't roll on her stomach when she's sleeping? Oh, what does that cry mean? What's she trying to tell me? That facial expression, what does that mean? And those weird sounds she's making, what does those mean? All of a sudden, probably about the 3-month mark, is where I looked back and realized I felt more comfortable and confident in my role. I felt more grounded. And I had a better sense that I knew what I was doing and a general acceptance that it was okay to not know everything and that somehow she would survive many of my mistakes. I also realized something really funny, and it took me by surprise. I now had a new normal, a rhythm to my everyday, and I realized that for me, now, just like I had before, I now had days that was similar to the ones before. There were certain things that I could count on being the same. We were finding our rhythm, and I was enjoying it. I was falling in love with my baby. Part of me tried to remember what my old life was like, and it became a distant memory. I also realized that now that I was a mother of a beautiful baby girl, there was no way I would ever want to really go back to whatever my life was before. My message to you, my All About Breastfeeding listeners, if you're pregnant for the first time, have a baby or young children, find other mothers to hang out with and share all the ups and downs, joys and struggles that parenting brings. It will go fast. You will forget, and there will come a time when you pine away and are sentimental about the good old early days with new babies and young children. You will forget what their tiny cries sounded like, what their little girl voices sounded like when they said, "Mommy, Mommy." And you will miss the little boy who smiled and has drool coming from his lips and jumped on your lap, getting in that last snuggle of the night before you tucked him in. Again, it's so cliche, but it does go fast. Enjoy the moments. Happy birthday to my Alisha Heather. I love you. Okay, don't forget to head on over to Facebook and search for these words, All About Breastfeeding Community, and join our group where you can meet and socialize with others who care about motherhood and breastfeeding. As always, I thank you so much for spending part of your day here with me. I hope you are learning a bunch of breastfeeding information, enjoying my guests who are giving so much of themselves and their heartfelt stories. I have provided a lot of educational shows too, which I really hope have been helpful for you in your breastfeeding life. My business mentors keep encouraging me to not be so shy about being a bit salesy. I am lovingly being encouraged to tell you, my listeners, that you will want to subscribe to the show so you can listen to the episodes when they come out. And I also didn't know this about podcasts either, but when you go to iTunes and search for All About Breastfeeding and subscribe to the show, you can also look back at the whole catalog of shows that I've already released, and you can download as many shows as you like, and they're all for free. So go ahead, make my day, and take my business mentors off of my back a little. Until the next show, bye-bye.